Let's keep it real. A lot of professionals want to start a business, not because they want to become famous online, not because they want to chase every trend, not because they want to quit their job tomorrow with no plan. Most professionals want to start a business because they want options. They want more income, more breathing room, more flexibility, more control over their future. And maybe most importantly, they want to stop feeling like one paycheck, one supervisor, one company, one department, or one unexpected life event has too much control over their stability. But here's where most people get in trouble. They start looking at business ideas based on what looks exciting online. They hear someone say, "This business changed my life." They see someone holding up money. They see someone saying, "I made this amount of money in 30 days." They see someone promoting freedom, passive income, and working from anywhere. And instead of asking, "Does this business fit my life?" they ask, "Can this business make me money?" Now, that's not a bad question, but it's not the first question. Because a business can make money and still be the wrong business for you. A business can be profitable and still drain you. A business can look impressive and still require a schedule that you don't have. A business can sound exciting and still compete with your job, your family, your health, your peace, and your responsibilities. So today I want to talk to the professional who wants to start a business, but does not want that business to take over their entire life. This is for the person who has a full-time job. This is for the parent. This is for the caregiver. This is for the professional who already has responsibilities, bills, deadlines, meetings, children, aging parents, community obligations, and limited time. This is for the person who wants additional income, but does not want another full-time job disguised as entrepreneurship. Because the goal is not just to start a business. The goal is to build a business that supports the life that you are creating, not one that competes with it. And if you've ever asked yourself, what kind of business can I start without destroying the stability I already have? Then this video is for you. Many professionals are not lazy. They're not lacking ambition. They are not afraid of work. In fact, many professionals are working hard. They are working so hard at their jobs. They are managing households. They are caring for children. They are supporting family members. They are trying to stay healthy. They are trying to keep their finances in order. They are trying to keep up with responsibilities that no one even sees. So when that person says, "I want to start a business," they are not necessarily saying, "I want to work 80 hours a week." They are often saying, "I need another stream of income. I need more control. I need more choices. I need something that can grow alongside my life. I need something that does not require me to abandon everything else." And that's a different kind of entrepreneurship. That's not reckless entrepreneurship. That's not impulsive entrepreneurship. That is strategic entrepreneurship. Because when you already have responsibilities, you can't afford to build business based on fantasy. You have to build based on reality. And the reality is this: not every business model fits every season of life. A single person with no children may be able to spend every evening and weekend networking, taking calls, going live, traveling, testing products, or doing events. But a parent, they may not have that flexibility. A professional with a predictable schedule may be able to build during certain hours. But a professional with rotating shifts, travel, caregiving duties, or young children may need a completely different model. Someone preparing for retirement may want a business that allows them to build gradually without putting their main income at risk. Someone who is already burned out may need something structured, simple, and controlled, not something that requires constant performance and visibility. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that too many people are embarrassed to admit their real constraints. They pretend to have more time than they actually do. They pretend to have more energy than they do. They pretend that they can handle more risk than they can. They pretend that they're available when they're not. Then they start a business model that requires a version of themselves that does not actually exist. And when they can't keep up, they think they fail. But they did not always fail because they're not capable. Sometimes they fail because they chose a business model that doesn't fit their life. That is the distinction we all need to make. The question is not only, can this business work? The question is, can this business work for me in this season with the responsibilities I actually have? One of the biggest dangers for professionals who want to start a business is building from hype. Now, hype is emotional. Hype says, everybody's doing this. Hype says, you're missing out. Hype says, you need to start now. Hype says, if you're serious, you'll find the time. Hype says, quit making excuses. And sometimes that sounds motivating. But for a professional with real responsibilities, hype can be dangerous. Because hype does not care about your mortgage. Hype doesn't care about your children. Hype does not care about your health. Hype does not care about your main source of income. Hype does not care whether you have the capacity to operate the business once the excitement wears off. Hype sells the dream, but you have to live the reality. And the reality of business ownership is this. Someone has to do the work. Someone has to manage the money. Someone has to handle the questions and the concerns of the customers. Someone has to solve the problems. Someone has to make decisions when things are not going too well. Someone has to track whether the business is actually making money. And if that someone is you, you need to be honest about your capacity. This is why lifestyle fit matters. A business that looks good online may look very different once it's in your hands. For example, a business may sound flexible but require constant customer communication. A business may sound passive but require inventory, maintenance, troubleshooting, marketing, and follow-up. A business may sound profitable but require upfront investment before you have confirmed demand. A business may sound easy but require skills you may not have developed yet. And that does not mean you should not start. It means you should start with your eyes wide open, because excitement is not a strategy. Hope is not a plan. And everybody's making money with this is not enough reason to risk your time, your savings, your peace, or stability. Professionals need to build differently. They need to build with control. They need to build with structure. They need to build with discipline. They need to build businesses that match their lifestyle instead of punishing themselves for having one. Here's a mindset shift that can change the way you approach business ownership. Your current life is not just an obstacle. It's a design constraint. And design constraints are not bad. They help you build smarter. And if an architect is designing a house, they need to know the size of the land, the budget, the weather, the building codes, the family's needs, and how the space will actually be used. They don't just design a dream house in the sky. They design around reality. Business ownership should work the same way. If you have a full-time job, that's a design constraint. If you have children, that's a design constraint. If you have limited evenings, that's a design constraint. If you have financial obligations, that's definitely a design constraint. If you are caring for family, that's a design constraint. If you're tired after work, that's a design constraint. And instead of ignoring those things, you should use them to shape the business model. For example, if you're only available on evenings and weekends, then you need to avoid a business that demands constant weekday availability. If your family time is already limited, you may need a business where tasks can be batched or even scheduled. If you don't want to be on social media constantly, you need a model that does not depend entirely on you performing online every single day. If you can't take unlimited client calls, you need a business that limits live service delivery. If you don't have a large amount of money to invest, you need a model that lets you verify demand before scaling. This is not pessimism. This is wisdom. And I want to say this very clearly. Being realistic does not make you less ambitious. It makes you more strategic. Too many people confuse ambition with overcommitment. They think, if I really want it, I should be willing to sacrifice everything. No, that's not always discipline. Sometimes that's poor planning. A business should not require you to burn down your entire life to prove that you're serious. A business should be built to support your life. That means you have to design it with your life in mind. Now let's talk about what lifestyle fit business models can actually look like. Because sometimes when people hear business that fits your lifestyle, they think that means the business has to be small, weak, or unserious. And that's not true. A lifestyle fit business can still be profitable. It can still be professional. It can still grow. But it's built around capacity and structure. Let's look at a few examples. A service-based business can work well for professionals if it's structured properly. That could be bookkeeping, resume writing, virtual assistants, editing, graphic design, administrative support, compliance support, project management support, grant writing, content writing, consulting. These types of businesses can work because you can often schedule the work in defined blocks. But here's the key. You have to control the scope. If every client has unlimited access to you, that business can quickly become overwhelming. So a service-based business fits your lifestyle only if you have boundaries around communication, deadlines, pricing, and capacity. Another example is a digital product business. That could be templates, guides, workbooks, online courses, downloadable resources, spreadsheets, toolkits, training materials. The benefit of digital products is that you can create once and sell it repeatedly. That can be helpful for people who need flexibility. But again, it's not magic. You still need marketing. You still need an audience. You still need systems. You still need to make sure the product solves a real problem. Then there's consulting or advisory work. This can be powerful for experienced professionals because you can leverage skills that you already have. Instead of starting from scratch, you can package your knowledge. You can help people or organizations solve problems that you already understand. The advantage is that consulting can allow higher rates for fewer hours. But the challenge is that it still requires client management, positioning, and delivery. Then there are operational businesses. These are businesses where systems, equipment, processes, or locations do part of the work. This could include vending, laundry services, rental models, local service coordination, certain product-based businesses. The benefit is that these models may not require you to be personally delivering every service hour by hour, but they still require structure. They require numbers. They require setup. They require monitoring. They require responsibility. And this is where many people misunderstand vending. They think vending is just buying a machine, placing it somewhere, filling it with snacks, and waiting for the money. No. That's the hype version. The control version is very different. The control version asks, is this location viable? Who is the customer? What products make sense? What are the costs? What are the prices? What is the expected sales volume? What are the restocking requirements? What happens if the machine does not perform? How long do I test before deciding whether to continue? That's the difference between gambling and building. And whether you choose vending, consulting, digital products, services, or another business model, the principle is still the same. The business should be designed around your life, your capacity, and your numbers, not around someone else's highlight reel. Before you invest money, buy equipment, sign a contract, build a website, announce your business, or start telling everyone what you are about to do, you want to ask yourself 5 questions. These questions are simple, but they're powerful. And if you answer them honestly, they can save you from building a business that becomes another burden. Question number 1. Can I run this business without neglecting my primary responsibilities? This is the first question because your main responsibilities matter. Your job matters. Your family matters. Your health matters. Your bills definitely matter. Your peace of mind matters. Your business should not require you to abandon everything that is already holding your life together. Now, does building a business require sacrifice? Yes. There will be times when you have to manage your time differently. There will be times when you cannot waste evenings scrolling. There will be times when you need to wake up earlier, plan better, or say no to distractions. But sacrifice is not the same as neglect. You should not have to neglect your child. You should not have to neglect your health. You should not have to neglect your main income before the business has proven itself. You should not have to neglect your responsibilities to chase an idea that's not been tested. So ask yourself, can I run this business without creating chaos in the parts of my life that already matter? If the answer is no, pause. Not quit, just pause. Adjust the model. Reduce the scope. Start smaller. Find a better fit. Change the timeline. But don't ignore the warning sign. Question 2. Does this business require more time than I can realistically give? This one gets people because people often underestimate how much time a business will require. They think about the exciting part, the launch, the money, the branding, the social media announcement, the first sale. But they don't think about the ongoing work, customer service, inventory, marketing, bookkeeping, emails, maintenance, follow-up, content creation, research, tracking numbers, fixing mistakes, learning new systems. Those things take a lot of time. So before you start, look at your actual week. Not your ideal week, your real week. How many hours do you work? How long is your commute? How much time do you need for meals, family, cleaning, childcare, rest, errands, appointments, and sleep? How much mental energy do you have after work? How many hours can you consistently give the business every week? Not one heroic week, not one weekend when you are so motivated. Consistently, because consistency matters more than occasional intensity. If your business requires 20 hours a week and you realistically only have 5, that does not mean you're lazy. It means the model is mismatched. So either choose a different business, simplify the model, extend the timeline, or get some support. But don't lie to yourself about time. Time is one of the first places business dreams crash into reality. Question 3. Can I operate this business consistently, even when life gets busy? Life will get busy. Not maybe. It will. Somebody will get sick. Work will get demanding. Your child will need extra attention. Your schedule will change. Unexpected expenses will happen. You'll have a week where you don't feel so motivated. You'll have a month where everything feels harder than usual. So the question is not, can I run this business when life is calm? The question is, can I run this business when life is busy? A lifestyle fit business has to survive real life. That means it needs structure. It needs repeatable tasks. It needs checklists. It needs simple systems. It needs clear numbers. It needs a way for you to know what must happen every week, even when you don't feel inspired. Because inspiration is unreliable. Systems are better. This is especially important for professionals. Your business cannot depend on you having unlimited energy every day. You need a model where you can say, here's what must be done weekly. Here's what can't wait. Here's what can be automated. Here's what can be delegated. Here's how I know whether the business is working. If you can't maintain the business during a busy season, the business may become another source of stress instead of another source of options. Question 4. Does this business create flexibility or another burden? This may be the most important emotional question because some people start a business because they want freedom, but then the business becomes the thing that traps them. They wanted more flexibility, but now they're answering messages at all hours. They wanted more income, but now they're spending more than what they're making. They wanted more control, but now every customer issue feels urgent. They wanted peace, but now they feel guilty every time they're not working. That's not freedom. That's another burden. A business that fits your lifestyle should create more control, not less. Now, no business is effortless. There will be problems. There will be learning curves. There will be uncomfortable moments. But overall, the business should be moving you toward more options, not constant pressure. Ask yourself, will this business give me more flexibility over time? Can it be structured? Can it be systematized? Can I control the workload? Can I pause, adjust, or scale responsibly? Or will it demand constant attention from day one? If the business cannot be structured in a way that protects your life, you need to actually rethink it. Question 5, can the numbers work before I scale? This is where emotion meets reality. A lot of people want to scale before they verify. They want the bigger website, the bigger brand, the bigger launch, the bigger inventory, the bigger machine, the bigger office, the bigger investment. But scaling too soon is one of the fastest ways to turn a business idea into a financial burden. Before you scale, the numbers need to make sense. You need to understand, what does it cost to start? What does it cost to operate? How much revenue is realistic? How long will it take to break even? What happens if sales are slower than expected? What expenses are reoccurring? What is the minimum performance needed to justify continuing? And if you're looking at vending specifically, the numbers matter even more. You need to understand location potential, machine cost, product cost, pricing, sales volume, restocking frequency, payment processing fees, maintenance, commission, if applicable, time spent servicing the machine, because vending can be a great business model for the right person in the right location with the right numbers. But buying a machine before understanding the numbers is not strategy. That's guessing. And guessing gets very expensive. So before you scale anything, verify. Let the numbers tell you when it's time to grow. Not your excitement, not pressure, not someone else's success story. The numbers. Now, since this channel has been talking a lot lately about controlled income and building additional income with structure, I want to talk specifically about vending for a moment. Vending can be a strong business model for professionals because it has the potential to fit around a full-time schedule. You don't necessarily have to be present every time a customer makes a purchase. You can service machines on a schedule. You can track sales. You can adjust products. You can test locations. You can start with one machine and learn before expanding. But I want to be very clear. Vending is not automatic Monday. It's not just buy a machine and get rich. That kind of thinking is what causes people to waste a lot of money. Vending works best when it's approached with control. That means you don't just start asking, what machine should I buy? You start by asking, where's the viable location? You don't start by buying everything you see online. You start by understanding the customer. You don't start by assuming the machine will perform. You start by tracking the numbers. You don't scale because you are so excited. You scale when the performance supports the decision. This is why I created the Controlled Income Vending Machine course. Because I don't believe professionals need more hype. They need structure. They need a way to think through vending without rushing into decisions that don't make sense. They need to understand what to look for before they buy. They need to understand why location matters. They need to understand how to think about equipment. They need to understand how to evaluate numbers. They need to understand how to verify income before scaling. Because vending can fit around your lifestyle, but only if you build it with discipline. If you approach vending emotionally, it can become another burden. But if you approach it with control, it can become a practical way to start building income outside of your 9 to 5. And that's the point. Not chaos, not hype, not pressure to quit your job. Controlled income, built with structure. And at the end of the day, I want you to remember this. Your business should be supportive of the life that you're building. It should not compete with it. It should not make you feel like you have to choose between ambition and responsibility. It should not make you feel like you have to risk everything to prove that you're serious. It should not make you feel guilty for having a job, a family, or limits. There's power in building responsibly. There's power in saying, I'm going to create more options, but I'm not going to be reckless. I'm going to build income, but I'm going to protect my stability. I'm going to take entrepreneurship seriously, but I'm going to choose a model that fits my life. I'm not going to chase every opportunity. I'm going to build with discipline. Now that's a mature approach to business ownership. And truthfully, it's the approach more professionals need. Because the goal is not just to say that you started a business. The goal is to build something that can actually work. Something you can manage. Something you can measure. Something you can improve. Something that can give you options instead of draining the life that you already have. And that starts with one honest question. Does this business fit my real life? Not the version of the life that I wish I had. Not the version someone online is selling to me. My real life. My real schedule. My real responsibilities. My real financial situation. My real energy. My real season. If the answer is yes, then build. If the answer is no, then adjust. But don't ignore the truth. Because the right business model can create freedom. The wrong one can create another trap. If vending is one of the business models you're considering because you want additional income that can fit around your full-time job, your family, and current responsibilities, I want to invite you to take the next step with the Controlled Income Vending Machine course. This course is designed for professionals who don't want to guess their way into vending. It's for people who want to build with control, numbers, and discipline. Inside the course, you'll learn how to think through the vending business before you rush into expensive decisions. You'll learn why location matters. You'll learn how to evaluate whether a vending opportunity makes sense. You will learn how to approach equipment decisions more responsibly. You'll learn how to track performance. You'll learn how to verify real income before scaling. And most importantly, you'll learn how to treat vending like a business, not a gamble. Because buying a machine is not the goal. building controlled income. That's the goal. So if you're a professional who wants to start a business that can fit around your lifestyle and you're interested in vending as a structured path to additional income, the Controlled Income Vending Machine course is for you. The link is in the description. Start with structure, build with discipline. Verify before you scale. And remember, your business should not take over your life. It should help you take charge of it.